Good afternoon. My name is Amy Levy, and I am so proud to serve as the YWCA Rock County Racial Justice Director. It is my honor to welcome you to the 2023 Stand Against Racism event in Beloit. I'm grateful for the beautiful spring weather. I'm excited to see each of you. Some faces were at our Janesville event, and I'm assuming it was impactful because you're back out today in Beloit. For over 100 years, YWCA Rock County has and continues to be a driving force for change in our community. Our mission of eliminating racism and empowering women has been strengthened and tested, which inspires us to keep moving forward. We continue to balance patience with the urgency that our history and experience demands, to combat ignorance, and in some cases recklessness, with wisdom, grace, and a commitment to always working on behalf of those who are systematically marginalized. The charge of the Racial Justice Program is to foster ongoing discussion, lead community activities and trainings focused on a range of topics pertaining to race, privilege, and human rights. This year, our Stand Against Racism campaign centers around the theme, advancing justice, ensuring equity for all. During YWCA's annual Stand Against Racism campaign, we are rallying across the nation to declare that it is time to focus on advancing justice and ensuring equity for all. This year, we were proud to receive Stand Against Racism proclamations from the County of Rock, Beloit City Council, and the Common Council and Mayor of Milton. I'm so pleased to bring to the stage Gina Insunza, Director of our Immigrant Outreach Program at the YWCA Rock County, and Carla Martinez for the reading of the Stand Against Racism proclamation issued by the City of Beloit, first in English and then in Spanish.
City of Beloit, Wisconsin official proclamation. Whereas all residents, regardless of race, creed, or ethnicity, deserve to be treated with dignity, respect, compassion, and justice. Whereas Beloit, Wisconsin residents value initiatives that will end race-based disparities and make the world a more equitable, inclusive, and dignified place for all to live. And whereas the elimination of racism can be achieved only with the participation of all residents in dialogue, reflection, and action. Whereas the City Council of Beloit, Wisconsin supports YWCA, USA, and YWCA Rock County and its prize-worthy mission to eliminate racism, empower women, stand up for social justice, help families, and certain communities. And whereas the City Council of Beloit, Wisconsin proudly supports the YWCA Rock County in celebration of Stand Against Racism, a signature campaign of YWCA USA, to build community among those who work for racial justice and to raise awareness about the negative impact of institutional and structural racism in our communities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of Beloit hereby declares Thursday, April 27, 2023 as YWCA Rock County Stand Against Racism Day, and encourage residents, local business, educators, and community and faith-based organizations to celebrate diversity and advocate for the elimination of racism.
Mientras que todos los residentes, independientemente de su raza, credo o etnia, merezcan ser tratados con dignidad, respeto, compasión y justicia, y mientras que los residentes de Beloit, Wisconsin, valoren las iniciativas que terminarán con las desigualdades basadas en la raza y hagan del mundo un lugar más equitativo, inclusivo y digno para que todos vivan, y mientras que la eliminación del racismo únicamente pueda lograrse con la participación de todos los residentes en el diálogo, reflexión y acción, y mientras que el Ayuntamiento de Beloit, Wisconsin apoya a la YWCA USA y a la YWCA del Condado de Rock en su honorable misión de eliminar el racismo, empoderar a las mujeres, defender la justicia social, ayudar a las familias y fortalecer a las comunidades. Y mientras que el Ayuntamiento de Beloit, Wisconsin, apoye con orgullo a YWCA Rock County en la celebración de la oposición al racismo, una campaña exclusiva de YWCA USA para construir una comunidad entre quienes trabajan por la justicia racial y el aumento de conciencia sobre el impacto negativo del racismo institucional y estructural en nuestras comunidades. Ahora, por lo tanto, se declara por el Ayuntamiento de la ciudad de Beloit este jueves 27 de abril del 2023 como el Día de la Oposición al Racismo de YWCA Rock County, y alienta a los residentes, negocios locales, educadores y organizaciones comunitarias y religiosas para celebrar la diversidad y abogar por la eliminación del racismo.
Thank you, ladies. So one of the best part of my jobs is whenever I get to work with young people. And this experience preparing for this event has been no different. Today we'll hear from 3 School District of Beloit student athletes, Kiara Ingram, DeCarlos Nora, and Chris Woods. Kiara Ingram is a senior at Fresh Start. After graduating, she plans to attend college to study either business or psychology. She loves to play basketball and views her team as her family. Chris Woods, also a senior. He's at Beloit Memorial High School. After graduation, he plans to attend a 4-year college and earn his undergraduate degree in business and eventually earn his MBA. Chris enjoys going to the gym, watching sports, and supporting his homies who run track and baseball. DeCarlos Nora, also a senior at Beloit Memorial High School. After graduation, he plans to attend a 4-year college to earn his undergraduate degree in sports kinesiology, minoring in sports management. He enjoys playing sports, currently baseball, and hanging out with family and friends. Please help me welcome. They will come up individually, but the order of introduction is the order we will receive them: Kiara, Chris, and DeCarlos.
Hi everyone. I would like to open my speech by reading a quote said by Shirley Chisholm. You don't make progress by standing on the sidelines whispering and complaining. You make progress by implementing ideas. Mrs. Levy gave me an opportunity to get up off the sidelines and implement my ideas to our community. I am here speaking for the girls basketball team who have also experienced many encounters of racism in our season and previous seasons. Even then, we sat in silence and whispered what should yet couldn't be done for our team, being young, black, and female. We shouldn't have to push harder for us to be heard in this world that we live in today, or even a male-dominant sport. We black women are just as passionate and driven as anyone else in this community. An event occurred last season at Parker. No need to go into depth about it, but our character as a team was challenged. We shouldn't have to play a game knowing we are being mocked and ridiculed by a school that doesn't even know us. We shouldn't have pre-game talks by our coaches to calm us down or clear our heads of the disrespect we continue to ingest. We should be going over game plans and going over how to win. It's unfair to me and unfair for my team being escorted in and out of games, which made us feel like a threat, which I know me and my team are not. Maybe we are on the court, but our team is not a threat, and we shouldn't be treated as such. In summary of the speech I've written today, we minorities in our community deserve the same respect an opportunity just as much as anyone else. There are many pros and cons of being young, gifted, and Black, but we as a community should brighten our Blackness and not dim. I want to be the change for all of us in this community. Just like Shirley Chisholm said, I want to be remembered as a woman who dared to be a catalyst of change. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Christian Woods, and I am a senior at Beloit Memorial High School. I would like to share some of my thoughts on our experiences upon arriving at the game. When we arrived at Muskego High School, many of us were trying to prepare for the game and tried our best to block out any distractions. Honestly, it never crossed our mind that we would be put in the situation we were in. We were informed of the writing by one of our team managers, Mike Nora, but as I mentioned before, we tried to block out any distractions and did not want to let that affect our thought process before the game. During the game, all of us were angry because of the way the student section was dressed. We believed their style of dress was intentional and represented racist imagery. They were also violating multiple WIAA rules such as standing on the sideline of the court, blowing whistles at us, and a general lack of sportsmanship. While we were heading to the locker room for halftime, we had to walk right past their student section to get to our locker room, which typically isn't a big deal. But their students were right there on the court next to us, which is much closer than what we are used to. Coming out of the locker room at halftime, we noticed that the students were on the court, shooting shots, playing with the basketballs, etc. During the second half, some students began making monkey noises and calling us names while we were taking the ball out of bounds, shooting free throws, and whenever we were near the sideline. Good afternoon, and I'm DeCarlos. After the game, it was all a little unexpected and overwhelming. I expected the situation to be brushed under the rug just like everything else, but it was far from that. It started as soon as 2 days later when a news company had half the team and parents meet up at one of my teammates' house. The news had a parent, coach, and a player speak about the situation. I was chosen to speak on behalf of my team. The reporter asked how the derogatory actions of the opposing team made us feel and what we would tell them if we could say anything. The most eye-opening statement for me during this interview was when I said the one thing I tell Muskego. That was that we did not respond how they thought we would, which was in a negative way, but how we took the high road and fought through the adversity. Following that, the first day we came back to school, we had a meeting with our coaches, athletic director, and superintendent on what to do if we were ever in that situation again and what they would do to take actions and make changes. Another news company came to my house to interview my father and I. They wanted an up-close story and experience of how one of the players were doing after an event. We continued to live our daily lives the same, but the situation just continued to play back in our minds. In the interview, we showed how we used things to distract us from the event and ease our minds. Everyone I encountered during the next couple of weeks shared their regrets, expressed how we should not have to experience the ugly ways and views of others, and how they stood with us. We then were honored at the Beloit City Hall and the Beloit City Council meeting. The members on the board gave us very supportive words and spoke about planning to take action to ensure other students would not have to experience what we had to go through. We were also recognized by the School District of Beloit and were given coins of honor. The last event was an event at Black Hawk Technical College where we were given medals in honor once again. In all, the Beloit community was very supportive after the event by protesting. The community showed me that they genuinely cared. It was a little overwhelming at times, but in all, I am very appreciative of being a Beloiter.
So I'm going to put all three of the students on the spot a little bit. And it's not that we haven't discussed this before. So if the three of you could come up and just share with us what you need your community of support to do in response. And I know that this won't impact you directly because you are seniors, you are about to graduate and go on to wonderful, bright futures. But for student athletes that remain as we transition into a new conference, and it can be very brief, what do you need from your community of support? Some of them have showed up today, which we're grateful for. How do you need us to show up for you moving forward?
I feel like with the community, everybody could, if they just showed their faces and really showed that they could support the people going through whatever the situation may be, just like they did with the last situation, just continue to do that, and it shows that they really care for us. I feel like it would be real nice to see a couple of the community members' faces at away games, not just the home games. That way we know we have the support we need, even when we're on the road.
What I feel like we need more as a community is more minority events, more what's the name, support and stuff from you guys, because piggybacking off what DeCarlos and Chris said, we would really appreciate the support outside of Beloit and stuff like that, because, you know, we need you guys there to have our backs and stuff and know that we're being supported in the stands and stuff. So.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I know, please give them another round, because it's not always easy to articulate what you need from your community. And I think our young people did a beautiful job. And I know that was a little uncomfortable, but I appreciate you. So, thank you again to our amazing student athletes. We'll now hear remarks from Dr. Garrison, Superintendent for the School District of Beloit. I am privileged to see Dr. Garrison's leadership from a front row view. I've witnessed him pour himself into the work of a superintendent, always seeking to do what is best for our students. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Garrison.
How y'all doing? Y'all doing well? How you doing, right? I know y'all in the sun. We got a little bit of shade right here, but we both feeling good though, right? First of all, let me just say thank you, students, for your words. I believe that those words, sometimes we just need to hear. And there's nothing wrong with the words as well. So again, thank you. You know, let me just start off by saying, and I'm gonna be quick because I was given a short amount of time, but racism, it's painful for me to think that yes, I have experienced racism in my short lifetime here on earth, both as a child, as a teenager, and as an adult. I have experienced racism. Although I don't have the time to go into specific details, as I was given about an hour for this conversation. I'm just joking, just joking. I was given 5 minutes. It's safe for me to say I'm sick of racism. Okay? I'm sick of racism. It's also safe for you to say that as well. So turn to your neighbor and say, you know what, I'm sick of racism. Say it. I'm sick of racism. I'm sick of racism. Yes, yes. It's perfectly okay. So say it. I didn't hear y'all up here say it. Say it. I'm sick of racism. And it's okay to say that, because let me just slow down. These are declarations that are made across the United States of America. As a matter of fact, racism itself is known as a public health emergency. Okay, racism in itself is known as a public health emergency. As a matter of fact, again, in the United States, there are 21 states, 92 countries, and 147 major cities that have made this declaration and or proclamation and recognize that as a society, we cannot turn a blind eye to this emergency. Again, racism makes me sick. Okay? As a matter of fact, research supports that people who experience racism have higher blood pressure, prone to heart disease, women that are pregnant, have babies that have low birth rates, your mental health becomes strained, and you experience aging faster. Now, what does that mean? You experience aging faster. Now look at somebody and say this. Now, I ain't trying to get old faster now. Come on. I ain't trying to get old faster. Let it take its own time, but I ain't trying to get old faster. That is a mental stress that happens just by experiencing racism. Getting older. It's like weathering. You know, when it starts to rain over time, it's kind of wear you down and wear you down and wear you down. I ain't trying to get older faster for none of y'all. I want that to be known. As a matter of fact, we should be coming together to figure out how we can really truly address racism so that we won't have to experience these conversations or these actions in our bodies. Ibram Kennedy stated he connected racism to surgically removing cancer. He stated, it's the same way that we treat metastatic cancer. We should go in and surgically remove the racist policies that are in effect today. We can also flood the body with chemotherapy. Thank you. We can also flood the body with chemotherapy on racist anti-policies, which do two things. Either we can reduce the size of racial inequities, or they can prevent the recurrence of racial inequities. So in essence, he stated that we should go in and surgically start thinking about what we can do differently to address this conversation. I believe that there are 7 things that we can take a look at to actually take a look at and start to address these concerns. Number 1, we have to cite where the problem is. Okay? You have to cite the problem. You have to know that there is something to address. Number 2, you have to be explicit. Okay? Actually, let me go back. Everyone first say cite. Cite. Everybody say cite. Cite. You have to cite the problem. Number 2, you have to be explicit. Outwardly and clearly state what it is you're trying to address. Number 3, you have to be strong. Everybody say strong. Strong. You can't tiptoe around the conversation of racism. You have to be powerful in your conviction. If it takes you some time to develop that strength, so be it. But you have to be strong in this conversation. Everyone say thorough. Thorough. You have to take care of the problem all the way through to completeness. You have to take care of the problem all the way through to completeness. Everyone say support. You have to ask for help. You have to ask for help. Or you may need to hold up someone else who needs help. Regardless, support is needed. And finally, you have to analyze, and what's to analyze? Analyze after all of what you've been through, what is it that I can do differently? What is it that I can do differently? Those thoughts are very clear in how we can actually address racism. Again, I am sick of racism. And this is a lifelong opportunity for us to come together. And time is of the essence. If you hold certain racist beliefs, you have to interrupt your health emergency. I'm gonna say it again. You hold certain racist beliefs, you have to interrupt your own health emergency. Because I don't want any of us to be sick. That's my time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Garrison. A local paper attributed the following quote to Mr. Gabrielatos. I am honored and humbled to take on this awesome opportunity. I look forward to working with an excellent council, top-notch staff, and engaged community. Let's get to work. Now, I know sometimes papers get quotes wrong, but when I read that, I said, that sounds like Jerry. I was able to sit in on the community input portion of the city manager search process. And one of the many things that impressed me about Jerry was that he was the only candidate that spoke organically about working to engage with diverse communities without being asked by the audience. Jerry seems to have a balance of joy and focus, and I hope to see him share that with our community for years to come. please join me in welcoming our city manager, Mr. Jerry Gabrielatos.
Hi, everybody. So I'm going to talk about racism in a couple of ways today, personally and professionally. On a personal level, my wife is Asian. She said to me, "You've only seen racism, but you haven't felt it." And there have been a number of times in our relationship that I've seen it. The hardest parts of our marriage were when I was there to witness it, when she was treated differently because of her race. I cannot think of a time more gut-wrenching. So when I stand with you against racism, I do it not only as city manager, but also as a husband. Professionally, I've only been in Beloit a couple of months. And regrettably, each month I've witnessed acts of racism that made me angry, disappointed, and upset. It gave me that same gut-wrenching feeling. What makes me proud to be an adopted Beloiter and our city manager is that in both instances, our community responded with grace. Or as Michelle Obama has said, when they go low, we go high. When our basketball team was subjected to racist taunts, they still completed the game with grace. They went high. And responding to a dog-whistled racist post about the composition of our city council, my council responded with grace. They went high. So we're here today to stand against racism, but I encourage us to do more than stand. There's another quote from another Obama that I often reference. President Obama said, "The thing that I have always been convinced of, the running thread through my career, has been this notion that when ordinary people get engaged, pay attention, learn about the forces that affect their lives, and are able to join up with others, good stuff happens." As city manager, I want to lay out some ways that we are going to do more than just stand. Local government is where problems get solved. It is the best part about my job. In response to gang violence in Chicago, I saw my community get together, work with not only the city and police, but more importantly, work with each other. Racism prevents that. In Chicago, in a place just as diverse as Beloit, people got to know each other, supported each other, and transformed their neighborhood. And in Beloit, I see people care because they're committed to each other and the city's success. It feels as if everybody I run into is on Team Beloit. So I encourage you not to just come to rallies, but also to get to know your neighbors, get your friends involved, and make this city work. The cities work best when more people are engaged and join up with others. And as city manager, I promise you that I will see to it that good stuff will happen. As city manager, I lead an organization of 400 people. I want to take a moment to discuss the work that we're doing internally. We're in the early stages of a diversity, equity, and inclusion assessment. After we receive the results of that assessment, we're going to put together a team internally to implement its recommendations. We're also going to join an organization called the Government Alliance on Race and Equity, GARE. GARE is a national network of governments working to achieve racial equity and opportunities for all. The organization will connect us to other governments that are doing the same DEI work so we can learn best practices and right-size them for Beloit. Local government is about solving problems, so let's talk about how important diversity, equity, and inclusion are to solving problems. Equity, to me, means fairness. Government has to be fair. Diversity, well, let's go back to government being about solving problems. In what scenario, when addressing a problem, have you ever said, geez, this would be a lot better if everybody on my team had the same lived experiences as me? That diversity of opinion and range of experiences leads to better decisions and better outcomes. That is particularly important in a city as diverse as Beloit. Finally, inclusion. As city manager, I want to ensure that ours is a workplace where people feel welcomed. More broadly than the city is just an organization, I want Beloiters to know that they live and work in a city where people feel like their opinions matter, where they know that just by living and working here, their opinions are ones that I listen to. Empathy prospers here. To that end, I've been meeting with people from all over Beloit with different backgrounds and to establish and build relationships. Beloit works best this way. Collectively, we will not only stand against racism, but enhance a community where all feel like they can participate and create space where we feel connected to one another, That's how cities move forward. So stand, get engaged, join up. Thanks.
Thank you, Jerry. So this is the part of the program where we talk about ways that you can be involved. This is by no means an exact list, but some helpful suggestions. In no particular order, at the top of my list is partnering with Community Action, Inc. Now, I know we have a few people from Community Action. If you could wave your hands, that'd be greatly appreciated. I want to take a moment to publicly thank Mr. Marcellus Perry, Executive Director of Community Action, Inc. of Rock and Walworth counties. Mark is someone who I'm proud to call friend. Dr. King reminds us that in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Thank you, Mark, for not being silent. Thank you for exercising both courage and integrity as you continue to speak up about what is right. Much appreciated. Courageous conversations are another wonderful way to be involved. Those occur on the fourth Monday of every month. They're hosted by YWCA Rock County, Diversity Action Team of Rock County, and Community Action of Rock and Walworth County. Fourth Monday of every month, 5:30 to 7, and they happen virtually, so make sure you visit our website to get registration links. Virtual lunch and learns are another wonderful way to become engaged. Our spring lunch and learn will take place on Thursday, May 25th from noon until 1. Again, stay tuned to our social media platforms for our speaker and topic. Next on the list, Diversity Action Team of Rock County. Are there any members present? Please wave your hand. All right. Diversity Action Team, actually just stand up and wave. We want to make sure people see you, only because when we wrap, I want you to get engaged. Thank you, Leslie. So if you are interested in hearing more about that, what they do and when they do it, please connect with anyone who responded. Justice Overcoming Borders, any JOB members present today? All right, Ms. Sloan, she's gonna fuss at me if I make her get up, so. See Ms. Sloan if you need more information about JOB. NAACP Beloit branch, do we have any members? All right, you see those hands that are waving, make sure you connect with them. Also, Ms. Sloan is a wonderful resource for CBC, Concerned Black Citizens of Beloit, so feel free to chat with her about that. And final on my list, which again is not exhaustive, but just a good place to start, the Wisconsin Poor People's Campaign. Is Sally or anyone from the Wisconsin Poor People's Campaign in attendance? If not, and you're interested in learning more, come see me afterwards and I'll get you connected with Sally McCoy. So now it's time for us to stand and to say our Stand Against Racism pledge. Hopefully everyone has received their pocket cards. If you haven't, Andrew has some extras. He is waving his hand. So flag Andrew down if you need a copy. If he doesn't get to you before we start, this is a community event, just please share with the person next to you, but do make sure you get a physical copy before we go. Again, thanks to Jack's Custom Printing. I called them and I said, I want to do this thing, and they listened to my vision and they created this beautiful little pocket pledge, which I'm hoping that we'll carry with us as a reminder of the commitments we're making to stand against racism. Thank you for standing as you are able, and we will read together. Stand Against Racism Pledge. Mindful of the continuing affliction of institutional and structural racism, as well as the daily realities of all forms of bias, prejudice, and bigotry in my own life, my family, my circle of friends, my co-workers, and the society in which I live. With conviction and hope, I take this pledge. fully aware that the struggle to eliminate racism will not end with a mere pledge, but calls for an ongoing transformation within myself and the institutions and structures of our society. I pledge to look deeply and continuously in my heart and in my mind to identify all signs and vestiges of racism, to rebuke the use of racist language and behavior towards others, to root out such racism in my daily life and in my encounters with persons I know and with strangers I do not know, and to expand my consciousness to be more aware and sensitive to my use of overt and subtle expressions of racism and racial stereotypes. I pledge to educate myself on racial justice issues and share what I learned with my communities, even if it means challenging my family, my partner, my children, my friends, my co-workers, and those I encounter on a daily basis. I pledge within my means to actively work to support public policy solutions that prominently, openly, and enthusiastically promote racial equity in all aspects of human affairs, and to actively support and devote my time to YWCA as well as other organizations working to eradicate racism from our society. YWCA USA is on a mission to eliminate racism and empower women. I join YWCA in taking a stand against racism today and every day. Thank you, everyone. So you can be seated. Now it's time for acknowledgements and thank yous. If you are present this afternoon and you serve our students in any capacity, as a mentor, a teacher, an administrator, a superintendent, a school board member, in any capacity that you serve our students, whether listed or unlisted, please stand or wave your hand if you're already standing. We want to thank you. Thank you so much. If you are an elected official, please stand, and if you're already standing, please wave your hand. Thank you so much for your service. I get it. Thank you to the City of Beloit staff who assisted with scheduling logistics and setting up the space for our event. Thank you to Visit Beloit for the use of their PA system. Thank you to each of our speakers. Wonderful job, especially our student speakers. Thank you to YWCA Rock County staff for attending today, and thank you for each of you for spending part of your afternoon with us. As many of you know, Thursday, April 20th through Thursday, April 27th was proclaimed by the County of Rock Board of Supervisors as Stand Against Racism Days in Rock County. YWCA Rock County has made the most of this week by hosting 2 in-person rallies and our monthly Courageous Conversation. Our April topic was the dangers of anti-Semitism. We were pleased to be joined with Trent Spoelstra, Associate Regional Director of Jewish Community and Young Leadership Engagement at the Anti-Defamation League. If you were not able to join us, I encourage you to watch this program or any of our previous Courageous Conversations on the YWCA Rock County's YouTube channel. I'm hopeful that each of you have used this past week to reflect and to learn and to engage those around you in discussions centered in race and social justice that lead to action and move our community forward. Thank you again for taking time out of your schedule to show up. As our program comes to a close, I encourage you to enjoy some great music. I put some effort into curating this song list. And to join us under the pavilion in just a few moments, give us a minute to get set up, to complete your Stand Against Racism fillable sign, which many of you are familiar with. We have it digitally this year to prevent lots of photocopying. have your picture taken. Please note that photos will be used to continue to promote our Stand Against Racism efforts on our social media platforms. When it's time to head out, please travel safely as you move on to your next destination. And remember that Stand Against Racism is not just something we do at the end of April, but it's something that we do every day. Thank you so much for joining us.